What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of the Tampa Bay Rowdies podcast for the 2026 season. I will be your host this year. My name is Jeff Attanella. Joining me will be producer Seth Kushner. He is somebody that has been in the Tampa Bay area producing for some of the top shows in all of Tampa. Very happy to have him on board as we are going to try and build something fun for the fans, fun for people that are diehards, fun for people that are just casually checking in. Really just trying to develop a show that keeps everybody in the know with what's going on with the Rowdies, but also a little bit more into the Tampa soccer community. Fun interviews with players so you can get to know their personalities a bit more. Fun interviews with people around the community that appreciate soccer, that you might not know and appreciate soccer. We'll have on some fun guests. We'll be talking Rowdies. We'll be talking ball. So it should be a fun year. But for this first episode, we just want to get you introduced as quickly as possible to the team. There's been a lot of roster turnover this year. There's been a lot of different things going on behind the scenes for the Tampa Bay Rowdies. And really, we just want to get you prepared for the opening game this weekend against Birmingham. First and foremost, to be in the know, we have a watch party at the Grand Central Brew House. It will start at 7. Game kicks off at 8. There'll be giveaways. There'll be different deals that the Brew House is offering Rowdies fans who come out to the watch party. And one of the main objectives that we want to do this year is make the watch parties awesome again. We want to make them fun. And that really starts with the fans and you guys showing up in good spirits and getting good numbers out there, because I think that the more Tampa Bay Rowdies fans that we can get together when the team's on the road, the more fun this season will be, the more that everybody will get to know one another, and the more fun we'll have at outlaying. So the Grand Central Brew House this weekend for the game versus Birmingham. So the way we set up this episode is going to be a little bit different from episodes that we have going forward. I'm going to get you up to speed in the next 8 or so minutes. We don't want these episodes to be too long. I'm going to get you up to speed or so in the next 8 minutes to what to expect from the team on Saturday, what you're looking for, and maybe a couple players that you should keep an eye out for. And then we're going to kick it to an interview where Seth interviews me just a little bit more, get to know the team, get to know what I'm looking forward to. So he's going to interview me about my perspective of certain things, and I'm going to kind of lean into you about the soccer side of things right now so that you know what to look for on Saturday. And for me, the entire culture, the entire pace of this team is centered around one person, and that's the head coach, Dominic Cassiato. I've gotten to know the head coach over the last 2 months extremely well, and I've played for a lot of different head coaches that have different philosophies. They approach the game in different ways. But I think what I really like about our head coach for the Tampa Bay Rowdies is that not only is he extremely detail-oriented in the way that he likes to play, but he's extremely detail-oriented in understanding about how to build the culture of this group. And he's really done a good job of making sure the players and everyone involved in this organization understand what it means to represent the Rowdies badge. Because as somebody that used to play for the club, as somebody that's from this area that is a huge Tampa sports fan, I understand what it means to represent the Tampa Bay Rowdies because there's a lot of history there, right? The team started in 1975. We've won championships. There's been different moments in this club history that really goes a long way when you're talking about building the history of Tampa Bay sports. And when you bring in all these new people that have never played for this club before, you kind of run the risk of not having the players understand what it means to represent the Tampa Bay Rowdies. But one of the things that the head coach has done all preseason long is making sure his players are aware of the history, the weight that comes with wearing the badge, the pressure that comes with wearing the badge, but really ultimately the privilege that comes with being a Tampa Bay Rowdy. And that's one of the reasons that he took the job. It's one of the reasons that he brought the players in that he did, because he know that he believes that this is a group of players that understand that and can represent the club in the best way possible. And if we're being honest, last year the standard wasn't met. Not anywhere close. And everybody in this building will admit that. But now it's time to turn the page to this new group of players and put our faith in them and the head coach that they understand what it means to be a Tampa Bay Rowdy. And throughout the course of preseason, having a behind-the-scenes look at everything, I believe that mission accomplished in that regard. I believe that these players fully embrace the idea of being a Tampa Bay Rowdy. They fully embrace the weight of it, and they're really looking forward to proving to the fans and proving to people within the organization that they were brought in here for a reason, and that reason was to win, and they're going to be capable of doing that. So talking about on the field, okay, the way that the Rowdies are going to be looking to play this year is going to be getting the ball forward. Get the ball forward, get numbers into the box, trying to create goal-scoring opportunities, whether that's from getting the ball out wide, putting the ball into the box of some of these big target forwards that we just signed, the MD Myers, the Evan Conways of the world, and being attacking in a way that you're still mindful of how you're trying to be defensively, right? Because everybody loves a team that attacks. But a team that attacks, that isn't organized on the back end defensively, isn't really going to get the job done because you leave yourself so open in the back. So coming this Saturday, expect this team to be a team that isn't afraid to get forward, right? They're not afraid to throw numbers forward. But at the same time, they're balanced and they're structured enough. And now they have the central back players that understand the game in a way that they know that if numbers are being thrown forward, that there needs to be that balancing act defensively. And as preseason has gone on, we've seen that with this group. Okay, not afraid to bomb numbers forward, but always making sure that whether it's the center mid that needs to hold, the center backs that need to pull back one of the outside backs, okay, making sure that they're organized defensively while also bombing numbers forward so that they can protect the counterattacking opportunities, right? And also expect this team to be a team that defensively, once the ball turns over, if they're in the right spots for it, they're going to be quick to respond and they're going to try and win that ball back. So a team that likes to attack, but also likes to stay balanced defensively and likes to be on the front foot, which I think is a very exciting style of soccer, and I think that it's something that the fans are going to really enjoy. One of the other things that I love about this group, and you guys will get to know them the more that we do interviews, the more that we talk to these players, the more that you guys get a little bit more behind the scenes, is they're very bought into what the Tampa soccer community is and the role that they play in it. Something that Dominic Casiato has done throughout his career is make sure that he leaves an imprint on the soccer community, whether that's with youth soccer, whether that's with, people who have a history in the game here, which, if you know anything about Tampa soccer, there's people who have been in this since 1975, really driving things forward. He understands the importance of the role that the Rowdies play in that soccer community and wants to make it an environment where it's open arms and you guys can look at the players, you guys can look at this organization, you can look at him as really a group that is leading the charge for what this community can be and what it's going to develop to in the future. So not only is he a coach that likes to keep his foot on the gas and pressing forward, when you're talking about on the field, he's also somebody that embraces the community and understands what it is to be a Tampa Bay Rowdy and what that means in this community. And I think when you package all those things together, that's really a combination of things that are going to be successful. He brought in a lot of new players. We'll dive into those players throughout the course of the season. Okay, I know that it's not easy to support a team when you don't really have a full understanding of who the players are. That's something that we're going to really dive into. But just so you guys are aware, from front to back, this is a group of players that have a lot to prove. And they know they have a lot to prove. So the hunger and the fight from this group is always going to be there. There's challenges at every single position, right? The competition is alive at every single position. So I think that we have a general idea of who we know is going to be the starting 11, or at least close to it. But behind the scenes, just know that this is a team that is pushing one another every single day because you have a roster that is deep that could plug and play starters throughout the course of the season. So I wouldn't expect this team to be a straight, this is my starting 11, this is going to be the starting 11 every week if they're healthy. I think it's going to be more of a mix of this player fits this game more so than the other guy. So we believe in our players enough that we're going to piece them together in a way that keeps things fluid but keeps that competition alive, which I think last year was something that you didn't really see as much from this group. And when there's not competition within a group, that's when you really start to lose the fight and lose that drive. So come Saturday, look for a team that is still working on gelling all the way. A lot of new players, but we did see a ton of progress in preseason, and I'm very excited to see what it's going to look like in the first regular season game because I know it was a long preseason for this group, and they're chomping at the bit to get out there and play a meaningful game. So look for a group that isn't 100% gelled together yet, but they're on the same page enough where it's going to look pretty fluid. That was one of the things that I was most surprised about, that by the end of preseason, the game was very fluid for a group of players that had only been together for a month and a half, 2 months. So look for a group that's not going to be perfect, but it is coming together and it is starting to gel, so that I do think that they're going to be dangerous enough in the attack and they're going to be understanding of the movements enough where we're going to be able to create our chances versus a good team like Birmingham on the road. Look for a team on Saturday that's going to be solid defensively, structured defensively, and really not give up too many opportunities that are going to be too clear-cut for a group like Birmingham, because they have been working structurally defensively, they have been organized defensively. And lastly, look for a goalkeeper that's going to be able to make saves. Anytime you go on the road, you need your goalkeeper to be able to make saves, and I do think from a goalkeeper standpoint, the Rowdies have been lacking over the last couple of years. But now they have two goalkeepers in Austin and Jamali, who they signed this year, that are experienced guys. They know how to make saves, they know how to keep their teams in games, and most importantly, they know how to lead from the back. So look for a team that has dynamic forward play, getting balls into the box, not afraid to press, not afraid to bring the game to Birmingham, even though they're on the road. Look for a team that's going to be solid defensively. Don't look for them to be too stretched. Compact when they have the opportunity to get compact, but they want to jump on the ball when they have the opportunity to win it. And then look for goalkeepers that are able to make saves to keep the team in the game in a tough place like Birmingham on the road. I understand that was a very quick dump, but I just want to give you guys what to look forward to in this game versus Birmingham as we gear up for the home opener versus Pittsburgh. The home opener versus Pittsburgh is going to be a huge test for this team. It's going to be a huge test to the fans. We want to make sure that we can sell this place out. Look into this game versus Pittsburgh March 21st. We got to handle Birmingham first, but that first home game is going to be electric. The USL champions are coming to town against a team that is newly pieced together with a head coach who is very ambitious, so it should be a tremendous home opener. I'm going to have Seth interview me. He's going to kick it over. We're going to kick it over to ourselves to knock out that interview for a little bit more fun stuff, a little bit more interactive things. And again, keep tuning in each week. Subscribe to the Tampa Bay Rowdies podcast. We're going to be diving in. We're going to be having fun. This is more of a quick hitter episode to get you a little bit in the know for Saturday. Get yourself out to Grand Central Brewhouse Saturday night. Start to make some friends. Start to build yourselves up for the season because I believe it's going to be a very, very good one. So without that, we're going to kick it over to ourselves, me and Seth. Come on, you Rowdies. Let's get the win on Saturday, and looking forward to next week's episode where we'll dive into a little bit of stuff after the game and get everybody fired up for that March 21st game versus Pittsburgh. See you guys next week. All right, so we're here. We're back. We kicked it over to ourselves, and this is Seth. We talked about him earlier on the show. He's going to be producing for us this year and just asking a couple questions as we dive into the first game of the season and just talk a little bit more about the team. Seth?
Jeff, it's a new team this year, a lot of new players. I mean, new team, but the team's had a little bit of a makeover. Who are you looking forward to seeing the most on the field? Who are you most excited to see?
Well, so there's a few different people. I think a lot of people are going to be really pleasantly surprised with a player named Dion Akoff who came over this year. He's an outside back. Just watching him in preseason, I didn't know anything about him, honestly. Like, I really didn't. But just watching him in preseason, he just bombs forward. And he's one of those guys that gets around. You know, everybody loves those wing backs that like to get forward, and he is exactly that. He gets himself forward, he gets crosses into the box, he's dangerous in the attack. But on the flip side, too, he puts the work in to make sure he gets back defensively because as a goalkeeper, you love an outside back that goes forward, but I like them better when they're able to get themselves back and actually play defense. And he's able to do both of those things. So I think he's somebody people are going to really enjoy. You will have a favorite player, and I'm going to predict your favorite player.
Oh, let's hear it.
Yes, Russell Cicerone. He was a former hockey player, and he plays the game like a hockey player.
Oh,
so
wow.
he is a guy that, like, scrappy, like super scrappy, forward, fast. Like, if he has the opportunity to, like, put his shoulder into a guy, he's checking a guy against the boards that aren't there. So I think he'll be your favorite guy. I think he'll be your favorite. So I think he'll be a fan favorite. Dion Akoff, the right back, he'll be a fan favorite. You know, of course, I like the goalkeepers, so I'm excited to see Jamali White play. He is on the Jamaican national team, so we're going to be cheering for Jamaica. If they make the World Cup, he'll be gone for the World Cup, which would be really cool to support somebody that's on the team and in the World Cup. And then, of course, like MD Myers, everybody that knows the USL knows him. He's a goal scorer. Evan Conway, same thing. But, you know, I think that between Big Russ, is that the nickname? We're going to name him Big Russ.
Yeah.
And Dion Akoff, those are the two that I think will be some fan favorites.
All right, I want to know, what are you looking forward to the most off the field this year? You've got a new role. Used to play for the Rowdies. We're going to get all into that. But off the field with your job, doing play-by-play, what are you looking forward to the most?
So there's a few things. I think that, you know, with the play-by-play for me, it's, you know, I was doing it for the league. And when you work for the league, you kind of work for all the different teams because it's, you know, you get assigned to a game. So it's like, you know, you got a week to learn that team and, you know, the team that they're playing against. And then you just kind of like put as much information into your brain as you possibly can. And then it needs to leave because you need the information for the next game that you have. So for me, I'm excited to be around the team and really just like fully embrace what it is to be a broadcaster for one specific team. Because I haven't had the opportunity to do that. And to get to do it for the Tampa Bay Rowdies, for me, it's obviously awesome because it's a team that I really care about. But to be able to bring my own voice, my own perspective to the Rowdies broadcast and really like liven up those broadcasts from somebody that's going to be with the team day in and day out, I think it's going to be something that the fans that watch on TV will really enjoy. But I know for me, it's going to be something new for me and really exciting for me because I'll be able to kind of be with the ebbs and flows of the team throughout the course of the season. And when you're only doing spot work, you never really get that. Right? You never really know what's going on with the team when you do one game at the first game of the season and the next time you see them is 6 months later. You don't really know what the ebbs and flows are. So to be involved in that fashion, I'm excited about. But then, you know, from my other role, you know, the brand building perspective, it's really about just trying to get ourselves involved in the community as much as humanly possible. And, you know, I did Tampa sports growing up. Tampa soccer community is something that's really important to me because they really helped me have the career that I had. So to be in this position now where I can make sure that the Rowdies are helping the best way possible that we can to continue to grow the game, but also support the community as best we can and get ourselves out in front of people, growing brands that I care about is what I love to do. So to get to do it for the Rowdies, a team that means so much to me already, is something that I'm really excited for.
I felt like you were on a job interview all of a sudden. You're like, promoting brands that I love is, something that I'm passionate about or whatever that was. I was like, all right, you're hired, dude. I'm all about it. So
Perfect. That's how
Jeff,
I got the job here. That's how I got the job
I
here.
know. No, I was trusting. I'm writing all this stuff down so I can be successful one day. You obviously played for the Rowdies. Can you tell us, the Rowdies have their first game this weekend, the first of the season. What do you remember about your first game?
So I don't remember how it went, to be honest, but I remember getting subbed in because our goalie at the time, Daryl, he got hurt. And usually as a goalkeeper, though, like it's kind of like a quarterback. Like usually as a goalkeeper, that's the only way that you get into the game, right? Is if somebody gets an injury because there's a starter and there's a backup. So I remember him getting hurt and going down and kind of being like, oh, well, I guess I guess it's me now. So I remember watching him get hurt and feeling bad. You feel bad because that's the person that you work the closest with. Like Daryl and I work together every day. And you get to know each other, you get to know like kind of each other's stories and their struggles and their career path and kind of what led you to be where you are. So of course, you feel bad, but you kind of switch that mindset of like, okay, well, like I got to go in. So I would assume we won. I would assume
Mm.
that, I made a ton of saves and it all went perfect. But I don't remember for sure. I just remember
Wow.
seeing Daryl get hurt, and it was a home game. I remember, which makes it more comfortable because like anytime you're playing at home, it's a place you're used to. But I remember seeing him get hurt and then just kind of being like, all right, well, I guess that's me. I guess I can get off the bench.
Well, all the backups always say like, yeah, you got to stay ready, you got to prepare like you're gonna start. It doesn't sound like you were actually ready to go in there.
There's always like a balance. Like I always, from the backup role, because that's what I was in MLS for my first, 4 years. So from a backup role, I always felt like there needed to be a balance of you're always ready to go in, but you're never like too mentally drained and like psyched up in the moment because like you don't want to like get over prepared if you're not going to play. You know what I mean? Mentally, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like mentally you want to be in the right headspace. So like I was always like the guy that was on the bench that was like very chill and like I could go in, but like, if that happens, I'll snap into it because like I didn't want to get myself too worked up for anything. But then, once you see the person go down, and it happens a lot, like once you see the person go down, sometimes they get back up, sometimes they don't. But like that's when it's like, okay, I gotta like snap into that. I'm going into the game mindset. So I was never one of those like super like locked in guys that was sitting on the bench. I was more of like the casual have fun guy. And then if I got called in, it was like, okay, yeah, I should probably lock in.
All right, so Jeff, what do you want to say? We're obviously, being a Tampa Bay sports fan, Lightning, Rays, Bucks, all over the place. USF, we've got the fans in Tampa that go, with the Rays, it was the whole I don't want to cross the bridge, act like St. Pete's an hour and a half away. I'm in St. Pete. It's wonderful over here. Trust me. What do you say to the sports fan that's been like, I got to go to a Rowdies game. I should go to a Rowdies game. They say it all the time, and they haven't made it over there. What do you say to those people that are, to push them over the top to finally cross the bridge and watch a game here?
Well, I live in Tampa, so I live on the other side of the bridge, and I've made that drive at least 50 times since I've been hired here. So I could just very much say it's not that bad. It's really not that bad. And, there's different ways you could go about the roads, right? Like there's different roads you could take now. So it's really not that bad. But I think more so than anything, it's like Al Lang and the stadium of Al Lang is one of the most beautiful venues to watch any sporting event. So whether you're a big soccer fan or you want to try to get yourself into soccer, because I think that there's a lot of that right now, and especially with the World Cup coming up, there's going to be a lot of people that are interested in the game because it is entertaining, and the younger generations get more into soccer every single generation that comes and goes. So there's more people that are invested in it and more people that are interested in it, and it's really like to cross the bridge and go to the Trop. And I don't want to speak bad about the Trop. I love the Trop. That's a different feeling than crossing the bridge and going to an outdoor stadium that's sitting on the water. And it's a very intimate stadium. I think it holds 6,500. So it's a very intimate place to watch a sporting event. It's a beautiful backdrop. And, everything in this area is so expensive now that Rowdies games aren't. You know what I mean? Like you can go down there, get a ticket to the game for like $20, bring your family out, get some concessions, get some drinks, whatever, enjoy your night, checking out the beautiful St. Pete area, getting to know a game that you might be really interested in, or you might be trying to figure something out about it, but you get to watch it in this beautiful, intimate setting that it's different from the other venues that they have here in Tampa. You know what I mean? Like you really feel like you're a part of the game when you come to these games because it isn't a huge place, but it is a really historical place. There's, they've done a great job of making it better than what it was by a mile when I was playing here. Like it's like night and day. So if you're interested in checking it out, if you don't want to cross the bridge to go sit inside and watch baseball, I understand that. But like this is a different vibe. And again, like that's coming from somebody that I love the Trop. Like I would drive across the bridge to go to the Trop any day. But like it's just a very different energy and there's just a very different vibe about Al Lang Stadium. And I think it's worth checking out.
There is, and like you said, if Jeff said, even if you're not into soccer, you want to come over to a beautiful backdrop, you get some great Instagram pictures, 200 likes guaranteed. It really reminds me of like the San Francisco Giants, the baseball team. It really reminds me of like their stadium when you hit it into the water. Like that's what Al Lang, that vibe's kind of always given me. All right, so we're not quite near the first home game yet. That's a couple of weeks away, but we got a watch party going on, Jeff. So where's the watch party going down?
But the watch party is at Grand Central Brew House in St. Pete. It's a great sponsor of ours. We just did the season ticket member event there, and that'll kick off around 7. Game starts at 8, but they're doing tons of giveaways. There's tickets to give away. There's swag to give away. And, one of the things that we're really trying to do is make the watch parties a fun time again. I think that that's something that's kind of drifted away from us a little bit. And whether that had to do with the results on the field last year or whatever the reasons may be, obviously, the St. Pete region went through a tough time with the hurricane. And, there's been a lot of factors working against, a couple things like that. But that's something that we're trying to bring back, and that'll be at the Grand Central Brew House. I unfortunately will not be there. I already had plans to be out of town that weekend.
So just so people know, I'm a big fan of watch parties. I'm going to try to make it out. When you talk to former athletes, the thing that they always talk about that they miss is the locker room, the camaraderie, and all that stuff. That's something that I feel like you get when you go to these watch parties. When you start randomly high-fiving strangers, that's what brings people together, okay? That's the togetherness that people are looking for in America. So go heel, go to the Rowdies watch party. I'm going to be there. Pete the Pelican, we're not sure if he's going to be there. He might be at the concert too. We'll find out later. But I'm excited. First game this weekend, Jeff, and I'm looking forward to doing this with you all season long.
No, I appreciate it, man. We're happy to have you, brother. It's going to be a fun ride.
Woo-woo!